Hello, Lord of Glory family. Greetings to you and to whoever else happens to be watching this video. This is another edition of our Light from My Path videos. Thanks for checking this out. Happy summer to you. I pray you're enjoying your summer and enjoying getting vitamin D. I don't know if you remember when we first launched these Light from My Path videos. It was in the month of January. I think we even filmed in this spot and we looked out and said, holy cow, dreary January. Now look at where we are. Happy June to you. And look at that green grass. Doesn't look great. Well, friends, quick story for you. Acquaintance that I just kind of got to know, shared with me recently, hey, you're a pastor? My dad was a pastor, but he just retired. He's 75 years old, served almost 50 years in ministry. My first question was, I'd like to meet him. I want to meet someone who served in ministry that long and served successfully. He said, sure, you can meet him. Would you want to meet him? I said, absolutely. So last week at coffee at Starbucks here in Grays Lake, we met together. I got a chance to sit down with a pastor who had completed over 40 years of ministry. I had a lot of questions for him. We talked about a lot of neat things, about his life in ministry, about his family. Near the end of our conversation, I did ask him one question. I said, tell me about retirement now. What's your vision for retirement? What do you like about retirement? He said a really interesting thing. He said this. He said, I'm enjoying God's word more than I ever have before. I've been around God's word my whole life, but for the first time, I'm receiving it as for me and not just for somebody else. Well, that was quite a striking statement. Made me think that sometimes when we hear God's word, we think of it as for somebody else, but not necessarily for us. Maybe we're around God's word, but we don't always draw the connection between God's word and our reality. Church words can do that. These big, heavy words that were in this month of the book of Romans, words like justification, sinners, righteous, death on a cross. These distant, abstract words can seem like they're for somebody else, or they speak to some reality that's far off, when in reality, they are for us. So here's what I want to do in the time I have with you. Romans chapter 5, just 3 verses, 6 through 8, including our verse of the month, Romans chapter 5, verse 8. And instead of hearing these words as distant church words, as words maybe not even for us, I want you to think of them today as words for you. Then I want to talk about them just really briefly on the other side. Romans chapter 5, starting at verse 6. You see, at just the right time, when we were still powerless, Christ died for the ungodly. Very rarely will anyone die for a righteous man, though for a good man, someone might possibly dare to die. But God demonstrates his own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. The best thing to me about the gospel is that the gospel is not comprised merely of distant, abstract theological words, but words that speak to a near reality. Words that are meant to impact your today. Words that are meant to change how you view your life today. So I pulled apart from this text, just very briefly, a few thoughts about how that reality, that God demonstrates his love for us, that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. I think that does a few things to you, and it does a few things to me. Number one, it means that the greatest aspect of my life, the thing that's most up in the air, my relationship with my Creator, your relationship with your Creator, is spoken for. It's not an open loop. It's not undecided. It is decided because of what Jesus does and how he demonstrates his love for us. Second, your life then is not some huge homework assignment that you have yet to fulfill. There's not some outstanding debt that must be paid. It has been paid in Jesus. And then finally, these two things. It means that wherever you're at today, you are indeed loved unconditionally. God demonstrates his love for us in this. While we were powerless, when we couldn't do that, Jesus did. Where you're at today, whatever you're going for, whatever you're going through, whatever's before you yet, know that you are indeed unconditionally loved. And then finally, this maybe might be the best part. You have a purpose. You have a mission. Not just churchy words, but a near reality for you. You're now sent to share that love. You're God's messenger at just the right time, at this time, to share that love that you have received from Jesus unconditionally with others. I wonder what that's going to look like for you today. Well, friends, that concludes today's Light for My Path. I pray that wherever life has you right now, that these church words, that this reality from God settles in for you as a near reality for you, changing your today, changing your view of yourself, and changing why you're here. God bless your day, everybody. Have a good one.